West Salem, there is Orchard Heights Park at the corner of Orchard Heights Road and Parkway Drive. Orchard Heights Park is a spacious 29 acres. It has a blend of trees and open spaces with a year-round creek. It features 3 ball fields, 4 tennis courts, plus basketball and utility courts. And for the younger set, there is a state-of-the-art play area. There are nearby tables and benches, and many pathways throughout the park, both paved and unpaved, for walking, for jogging, and for biking. Amenities include fountains, off-street parking, portable restrooms, and barbecues. Also, there is a dog exercise area where dogs are permitted to run off leash. This is a great open area for dogs and dog lovers. All in all, this is a gem of a park in the northwest part of the city. A place where fun can be had by one and all.
Hola, soy Dr. Serino y soy oficial de salud en el Departamento de Salud y Servicios Humanos del Condado de Marion. Ha habido mucha plática en la comunidad sobre el nuevo coronavirus. Estoy aquí para darte información útil. El coronavirus, también conocido como COVID-19, fue descubierto en diciembre de 2019. La Organización Mundial de la Salud ha declarado que el virus es una pandemia mundial. Algunas personas en Oregon se han enfermado por este virus y la División de Salud Pública del Condado de Marion está monitoreando la situación muy de cerca. Los síntomas de COVID-19 son tos seca, fiebre y dificultad para respirar. COVID-19 puede propagarse en manera similar a la influenza. Se puede transmitir a otra persona cuando alguien que está enfermo tose o estornuda dentro de una distancia de 6 pies o menos. Si usted está enfermo de tos, fiebre y dificultad de respirar y cree que pudo haber estado expuesto a COVID-19, quédese en casa. Por favor, quédese. Quédese en casa por lo menos 24 horas después de que sus síntomas hayan terminado. Si usted tiene problemas de respirar y la enfermedad empeora, por favor, llamen a su proveedor de salud o atención médica. Ellos le ayudarán a hacer un plan y darle instrucciones sobre qué hacer a continuación. Sabemos que la mayoría de personas que han adquirido COVID-19 se recuperan. Para aprender más sobre COVID-19 y obtener información actualizada, visite el sitio web del Oregon Health Authority o llame 211. Gracias. Hello, my name is Dr. Serino, Health Officer at Marion County Health and Human Services. There is a lot of talk in the community about the novel coronavirus. I'm here to share some helpful information for you. Some people are at higher risk of getting very sick of this illness. This includes older adults, people who have serious chronic medical conditions like heart disease, diabetes, lung disease, and autoimmune diseases. If you are at a higher risk of becoming very ill from COVID-19, you should avoid others who are sick, limit close contacts, and wash your hands often. To learn more about COVID-19 and get up-to-date information, check out the Oregon Health Authority website or call 211.
My name is Carrie, and I'm from Bend, Oregon. And I'm a volunteer with the American Red Cross. When there's a disaster like a wildfire, when families have lost everything, Red Cross responders, like me, come to help. We give people a place to stay, food and comfort. Sometimes it's just a hug. The Red Cross does so much in our local communities. That's why I give.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Schuyler, and I'm a Marion County Hearings Officer. We have one land use case today, Allied Rock LLC. It's a comprehensive plan amendment zone change 20-002. Please sign in and provide your mailing address if you plan to testify or if you'd like a copy of the decision. I'm going to go over the order of procedures first, and then we can begin. So I'll go over the nature of the case and why we're here. I'll ask the parties if there are any preliminary objections. I'll summarize the material in the case file, which is the record for this matter. The Planning Division will present its report. The applicant will present testimony and evidence and argument. Then any testimony in favor of applicant's position, and then testimony in opposition to the application. Then if there are any general comments, that are neither for or against the application, and then applicant will have a chance for rebuttal as they have the burden of proof in this matter. No decision will be made at the hearing. My decision will be in writing, and a copy will be sent to applicant, interested parties, affected governmental agencies, and anyone else who requests a copy. Appeal of my decision may be made to this is a recommendation to the Marion County Board of Commissioners, who has the final authority in this matter. I am recording the hearing today. Testimony is taken from the tables up front or over the phone and will be under oath or affirmation, and the recording becomes part of the official record. The hearing is being televised as well on CCTV, but the televised recording will not become part of the record. The record in this case is a public record. Any documents submitted become part of the record and generally cannot be returned. If you have any documents you'd like to submit to the record, please let the other party take a look and give them to me, and I'll mark them as exhibits and make them part of the official record. Failure of an issue to be raised in a hearing, in person or by letter, or failure to provide statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker an opportunity to respond to the issue may preclude an appeal based on that issue and may preclude it from being raised at a later time. Failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues related to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the local government or its designee to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. For a condition of approval to apply, it must be stated with sufficient specificity to enable the applicant to respond to the condition prior to the close of the final local hearing. I've had no ex parte communications in this matter, which means I haven't had any contact with any of the parties outside of the case today, and I've only seen what's in the case file, which I'll go over in a minute. So this matter is before the Marion County Hearings Officer on the application of Allied Rock LLC, tenant of the estate of Lois M. Stewart, to change the zone from EFU, exclusive farm use, to TC, timber conservation, and change the comprehensive plan designation from primary agriculture to forest land on a 187-acre property located in the 18,800 block of Old Mahama Road in Staten. So before I summarize the other material in the case file, I'll ask the parties if there are preliminary objections to the notice, so any problems with the notice, jurisdiction, my authority to hear the matter, or conflict of interest if you think I have any bias in the matter. Any objections? I hear none. Okay, so the case file contains the Planning Division memorandum, a copy of the application, as well as applicants' written submittal with this application that also has 8 exhibits. An extra copy of the planning memorandum. The original application is in here. A memo from John Rasmussen at Public Works. Comments from ODOT. Another email to Alyssa Schrems from John Rasmussen. I have no comment back from the tax office, no comment from code enforcement, no comment from David Eubanks at the building plans examiner. I have a zoning map, the notification map, as well as the list of those notified. I have the certification of mailing, along with the list of mailing and a copy of the notice, and notice of submission to DLCD. Then I have some public comments. I have comments received from Steve and Dana Orr, from Jerry Cohen Hill, Bob and Sandy Putnam, Mark Krautman, Eric, Peter and Terry Etzel, and Dan Hafner. I also have some email correspondence just regarding setting up testimony at the hearing and submitting comments. And then I just received, I have not reviewed these in full, I just received them from planning, previous case files for 93-4 and 96-81. So that's what I've had a chance to review before today's hearing. So all testimony should be directed to the subject matter of the case. The laws and provisions applicable to the case are found in Marion County Code, Chapter 17.123, 17.138, the Marion County Comprehensive Plan, specifically forest land and farm/timber policies, Oregon Administrative Rule 660-006, and the statewide planning goals. So if you believe any other provisions apply, please tell me during your testimony. Any other procedural questions before we begin? Okay. Ms. Schrems, why don't you please begin?
All right. Alyssa Schrems, SCHREMS, Associate Planner.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So in our memorandum, we've laid out the staff report for this zone change, addressing state land use goals, as well as, just going to get the right number for you, Oregon 660-33, and those sections that apply in this situation. Findings are contained herein, and then ultimately we recommended approval of the application. Is there anything I can clarify from the staff report for you?
Not at this time. I don't think I had any specific questions at the beginning.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Do you have, I know we have Mr. Rasmussen from Public Works here. Do you have any questions for him, from staff, or anything we need to clarify?
No. John Rasmussen, Marion County Public Works.
Actually, sorry, and do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I had received at least one phone call about local residents' concern on Kingdom Lane about truck traffic.
Okay.
And, the conditional use 9681 put a limitation on that with use of the connecting east-west connectors. And my comment memo that you have just reiterates that, as well as ODOT's email. So unless there's any questions about that, I don't have any other comment.
Okay. I don't. Do you have any questions for him? Okay. I don't think we do. I appreciate, I got your memo and the other information, and I think it's pretty clear in there, so, okay.
Okay, very
All
good,
right.
thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Sure.
Okay, so, hello. Are you here for the land use hearing? Yes. Okay, are you planning to testify? Not necessarily. Okay, you're welcome to come in and sit and listen. Yeah.
I think they're virtual.
Yeah, we do have people watching on CCTV as well. So, but you're very welcome to be here. Thank you.
Oh, let me just add one thing, I'm sorry. So in the stipulations for the 96 conditional use, it may have specifically cited gravel truck traffic, but we know that with the expansion of the rock pit that they may be doing some logging, and so that's why in my current memo I just mentioned truck traffic to include all large truck traffic,
Okay.
even log trucks.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right,
thank you.
thanks.
Thanks for that clarification. Okay. So now we're actually applicants' representative is going to appear by phone. So Ms. Schrems is going to help me out. So give us a minute. So it's just 9 and the number and then that little.
Yeah, I dial our main number.
Sounds good. I think we're good.
Do you think he can hear you from here?
They could this morning. Hello?
Hi, this is Alan.
Hi, Alan. This is Stephanie Schuyler, Marion County Hearings Officer.
Hello, Madam Hearings Officer.
Hello. So we're here for the hearing for Allied Rock, and it's now applicants' turn to testify and present evidence and argument. So can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Yes, my name is Alan Sorum. Alan is A-L-A-N. Sorum is S-O-R-E-M, as in Matthew. My address is 250 Church Street South, Salem, Suite 200.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the time and the technological allowances to be allowed to appear by phone today. I had some unexpected challenges in being able to come in, and this was the best thing for public health, so I appreciate that. More to the point, I appreciate the time and effort from staff from Marion County Public Works Department and the Planning Department. My client and I have reviewed staff recommendation, and we encourage the hearings officer to adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law ultimately reached by the Planning Department and recommend the comprehensive plan amendment and zone change. I can speak to some of the more salient issues in the application, if that would be beneficial to the hearings officer.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I think it's important to note in this case, this zone change is unlike many zone change cases before Marion County, in that there is no goal exception being applied. Marion County is only, well, the statewide planning goals allow a county to change the comprehensive plan designation between Goal 3 and Goal 4, depending on findings of fact of the soil, and no exception to either goal is required. They are both deemed natural resource zones, and so we don't have to go through the traditional goal exception process. In the staff report, the application is supported by a written narrative with findings of fact that are proposed and evidence that substantiates the ultimate conclusion that in this instance, the soil suitability of the subject property very much supports a designation for forest uses. The soil is predominantly not high-value farm soil, but it is 92.5% of a Class 3 rated woodland capable soil, which means it can produce on average between 120 and 164 cubic feet per acre of Douglas fir, which is a very good soil for wood producing and consistent with the type of soils that are predominantly found in the county's timber conservation zone. The other kind of pertinent issue in this case with this property in particular, because it's not the first land use case ever, was Goal 5 and some of the environmental potential impacts. I'll note that there was a letter in the record from a neighbor expressing concern regarding environmental impacts. And in 1993, there was an easy analysis completed for the property, and there's on a portion of the subject property is an area that's been identified in the county's inventory for rattlesnake dens. And it was determined that the intermittent blasting associated with the rock quarry would not have a significant impact or significant conflict with the rattlesnake dens. And also the hearings officer's recommendation concluded in part saying that, quote, the limited potential for snake problems should prevent the potential harm to farm or forest practices in the area. So there was a good amount of analysis regarding potential conflicts between the natural resource area uses there and its position of applicant that changing the zone, well, the designation from PA and the zoning from EFU to a forest designation and a timber conservation zone is not going to create any new conflicts where there would be a significant adverse impact. We would note that forest uses are allowed in the EFU zone itself. Likewise, farming is an allowed use in the forestry zone. The primary differences between the two zones really are borne out when you look at some of the conditional uses. And but still, if there were any development proposals, any conditional uses applied for in the future, there would still need to be a demonstration at that time of development under the conditional use criteria that whatever that use might be would not have a significant adverse impact on the wildlife. So we think that there's no significant conflict or concerns under Goal 5, and by adhering to the existing permit requirements related to the gravel operation, the changing of the underlying zoning is consistent with Goal 5. The other goal that sometimes is relevant in the zone change cases is Goal 12, but there was no TIA required in this case because the expected additional traffic really was negligible. Planning staff noted that potentially an additional single-family residential dwelling would be permitted under a zone change. However, in light of the capacity of the existing local road and its road quality, there's no significant adverse impact under the Goal 12 implementing rules. The applicant's application also goes through the applicable policies in the forest zones, and those are pretty clearly supported by the evidence in this case as the woodland capability of the soils is very much consistent with the forest designation. Finally, I'll say there is an analysis by staff of the 5 criteria relating to the zone change, which is evaluated after the comprehensive plan and statewide planning goals are reviewed, those criteria were found to be supported by the evidence in the record as well. So with those kind of overarching comments, I do think that staff's recommendation is well founded by the evidence in the record. Applicant is looking at having this property to be zoned for forest uses, which is consistent with the other natural resource uses that the family companies have. This is a long-term commitment to the property, and is excited about the zone change. We do think that we satisfy all the criteria, and we would hope for the county's continued support. With that, I'll leave the rest of my time for rebuttal unless there's any specific questions from the hearings officer.
Just before you go, we do have John Rasmussen here from Public Works, and I don't want to keep him for the whole hearing. So, Mr. Rasmussen, do you have any questions for Mr. Sorum or vice versa? Or any?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Mr. Sorum, then, yeah, we'll let you go. We'll hang up the phone in just a minute and then take other testimony, and then we'll call you back for rebuttal.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So just push the phone button again. Thank you. And so, yeah, we have one more, where one person who's signed up to testify via phone, and so we're going to call him now. I don't have his name in front of me.
This is Edward Hill.
Edward Hill.
Hello?
Hi, may I please speak with Edward Hill?
Hello?
Hi, may I please speak with Edward Hill?
This is Edward Hill.
Hi, Mr. Hill. This is Stephanie Schuyler. I'm a Marion County Hearings Officer.
Good afternoon.
Hi. So we're having a hearing for the application by Allied Rock LLC, and I was given your number and told that you'd like to testify. Is that still the case?
Correct.
Okay. So for the record, can you please again state your name and spell your last name?
My name is Edward Hill, H-I-L-L.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Regarding the letter that you have for the zoning on the property, I have lived in this area and been a resident for 25 to 27 years. I have tried to work with ODOT and Marion County on the road trafficking on the road that is only 15 feet wide. It's actually a one-lane road that can't handle the heavy traffic. So my concern is the road is already breaking down, and the concern is if you put dump trucks and log trucks on the road that you can't control only from the rock pit, individual private companies are still trying to use the road as a cut through. In recent history, since I have lived here, we have had the telephone pole taken out and 3 days without power. We have had a natural gas station developed down the road on there, and the stop sign has been taken out. We have had rattlesnakes in our yard from the blasting, but I want to let you know that Allied Rock has been very cooperative, and we have seen this rock quarry change hands 3 times, and Allied Rock has probably been the most responsible rock company that we know of. They're very concerned, very polite. They have done everything they can to keep heavy equipment off the road. They've notified the public that no truck heavy equipment was allowed on the road. ODOT came and took the signs down and said it was illegal. I had turned around and received a letter from Marion County stating about the zone request of changing it to forestry from agriculture. I had called Marion County and asked them if ODOT was allowing heavy equipment on the road. They said no heavy equipment was allowed on the road. So I said, after living here for 25 to 27 years, I said, I will call ODOT and make sure that that was correct. I called ODOT, and ODOT has informed me that, yes, there is no restriction on this road for heavy equipment. This is a one-lane residential road that's only 15 feet wide and is showing a lot of heavy stress. My concern is put up public notice saying that there is no heavy equipment allowed on the road for log trucks, dump trucks, only for local vendors dealing with the residents. And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
And I appreciate you giving me the time to voice my concerns and let you know exactly what's going on out here on Kingdom Lane, right next to the rock pit.
Okay. Do we have any questions for? Okay.
Well, I have a comment.
Okay. So we have John Rasmussen here from Public Works, and he has a comment for you. So go ahead, please.
So
I'm on my cell phone, so it's very hard to hear you.
I apologize. We'll try to talk loudly.
yes, is it Mr. Hill? Did I get that correctly?
Mr.
I'm still having a little hard time hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little better.
Okay, so I appreciate the fact that you're pointing out about the ODOT's stance on Kingdom Lane, but I think it's important to make the distinction that while ODOT may not have an overall restriction on heavy truck traffic on Kingdom Lane, the county and ODOT both support that this property, the subject of this zone change, not put traffic on that road. So that the limitation on the truck traffic is a condition of approval, or was, and likely will be, a condition of approval for this zone change. However, if ODOT chooses not to make a blanket restriction on Kingdom Lane, there's nothing the county can do about that. You'd have to take that up with ODOT.
Mr. Hill? Okay, I think we're getting feedback.
I see. I have taken it up with ODOT, and I get two different questions.
Mr. Hill, if you can hear us.
What? I can give you another number for you to call me at.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, okay, go ahead.
I can give you another number that you can call me at in order to get a better reception.
Okay, go ahead.
503 769 9700.
Okay, we'll try that right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to talk to them, it might be better to sit closer to the phone.
I can try to do that. Incoming call.
Okay. I was receiving feedback earlier, but.
much better?
It's better for us. Is it okay for you?
Yes, cell phones are just not like they used to be.
Okay, so I'll maybe again, Mr. Rasmussen, do you want to repeat, or did you have a question, Mr. Hill?
Well, basically, Mr. Hill, I think you need to repeat everything you said after I last spoke.
Okay, and you wanted me to repeat which one?
So I commented to you that Marion County does not maintain Kingdom Lane, and that we're...
No, sir. Marion County does not maintain Kingdom Lane. It's actually a state road through DOT.
We're here to talk about the rock pit and its traffic and not any other traffic.
Correct. They use private owners of the rock pit other than the rock pit itself due to fuel trucks, maintenance trucks. The local delivery trucks use this road to cut through to get to pit.
Okay, so third-party haulers are not excluded from the conditions under land use case CU 9681, and maybe what the hearings officer would consider. Actually, the comments I made to the hearings officer include truck traffic generated by the property. So it would not exclude third-party haulers, fuel trucks, deliveries, etc. And so you know that condition would be carried forward. And if you know if there were to be future truck traffic generated by the property that is witnessed, then the Marion County Planning Department should be notified of that so they can take appropriate steps.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. And Marion County has been notified and it's out of their hands. It would have to be something for DOT to consider.
Is that a question?
Was that the question?
I'm sorry, were you asking if it was something that DOT would consider?
Well, DOT would have to consider it because Marion County does have no restrictions or anything on it.
Right. Well, I know that one of the conditions or sub-conditions in that 96 conditional use talked about that if there were to be violations of the truck traffic on Kingdom Lane from the rock pit, that the applicant would be responsible to either place signing at either end of Kingdom Lane, or if they didn't follow through with that Marion County could step in and place signing on Mahema, that is, about that traffic. Now, of course, ODOT also has State Road 22, so Marion County could not place any signing on Kingdom Lane or State Road 22. So it could be some conversation that could happen between our traffic department and ODOT about that.
I see, and I've worked with both, and nothing would be getting done on that part of it. So that was my concern on changing the zoning of it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your testimony. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that would be it. It's just the road is buckling because of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you again for your testimony, and we're going to go ahead and let you go.
Okay, I thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me just make sure. So, I know, ma'am, you didn't want to testify. Did you plan to testify, sir?
Well, I had some questions.
Okay, I'm happy to have you. We'll just have to have you come up and get you sworn in and get the mic for the recording.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to have you come sit over on the other table for maintaining social distancing. And before I forget, did you happen to sign in on the sign-in sheet?
I didn't, but I will.
Okay. Will you, before you go, so I can make sure you get a copy of the decision too?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so go ahead and state your name and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Matt Bohenek, Bohenek. I grew up on Old
Hold on
Mahama.
real quick. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I grew up there on Old Mahama Road, just across the street from where Allied Rock is now. When I was a kid, we used to see rattlesnakes all the time. I think the rattlesnakes have been gone for a long time. I don't think there's been any activity in the dens up there for many years before Allied came. I don't know how they're affiliated with the rattlesnakes there, but anyways, I don't see that as a pertinent argument to any of this. I'm questioning why would they change the land use there to begin with? What's the benefit to? What is the benefit to the community for the land use change? I mean, if there's a benefit to Sigmund, I could really care less. Those guys have lots of money and lots of trucks and lots of cool stuff. So I think that if it's just to benefit them or to build more houses up there or to create a forest program up there, I think a forest program would be a great idea. But that 780 acres before it was split was one of the largest privately owned old growth forests in the valley. And when it got cut, many logs of that timber sale got left on the side of the hill. When the people went to replant that property, they apparently had gone up there and planted a few trees and thrown the pack of trees in the bushes. I've been on the property. I've seen the log decks that are still up there. I've seen the bags of dead trees in the brush. I don't believe that property was ever taken care of properly. And this just is another step in a failed system to maintain that property. Right now, from what I understand, that property is under some sort of a legal argument over the replanting of the entire property. And when I say the property, I'm not just talking about Sigmund's. They're maybe 180 acres or something of that 700 acre allotment. So again, if it's something that's going to benefit the community, I'm all for it. If it's something that's going to just benefit Sigmund's, I don't see the point. I agree with, I think his name was Bill or Hill.
The gentleman who just left, or on the phone?
Yeah, the guy,
Mr. Hill, yeah.
The guy on the phone. I do agree with him. You know, Kingdom Lane has not been upgraded enough to be considered for heavy equipment travel. Mm-hmm. However, I disagree with him in the fact that road should be the access road for Allied Rock.
You believe it should be or should not?
I believe it should be. And I'll tell you why. If you go down Old Mahama Road and try to spit out at either end, okay, one end, if you're going to go up the hill, now you've got a loaded semi-truck going up the hill. That's going to create a problem for anybody that's already on the highway, because now they've got to go up behind a truck that's trying to make it up the hill from a dead stop. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you have a blind corner and a super sharp turn going down onto the highway, which again, you know, rainy conditions, you know, fog, anything other than dry, clear, sunny pavement is going to be, you know, eventually an issue. So where Kingdom Lane spills out, that spills out onto a 4-lane highway where you can see clearly in both directions. So I think that Kingdom Lane would be the optimal place to put the in and out for Allied Rock. So I guess that's about all I have to say.
Okay, and I do want to say again, like I'm making a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, so I'll definitely include all of this to them, and then they'll be able to make the final decision. And I will. We're going to have applicant's representative back on the phone in a minute, and so if he wants to address the questions you brought up, we'll have him do so as well. So okay, thank you for testifying. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Would I be able to say anything? Of course. Oh. Yeah, absolutely. I'll have you come up to the microphone. So I'll just have you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please.
My name is Bonnie Steere, S-T-E-R-E.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm Matthew's mother.
Okay.
Have lived there for over 40 years. I guess my biggest concern is what is the purpose of changing the zoning to timber from farm? And then I have a question. The man who spoke first, was his name Alan Storm or Storm?
Alan Storm, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so he talked about soil quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I was interested to know what are his qualifications to determine soil quality? Is he a geologist or what? I mean, are those actual facts or is that his understanding?
And that we can ask him that. He is an attorney. He represents the applicants. I will say for the file, I do have, I believe, the soil map and the soil information that was submitted for the property, and that's not his determination. It's from the soil map itself.
Okay, so
that's a fair
accurate.
question for him. If we can ask him that as well.
All right, and then. So if they go to timber, I guess one of my big concerns would be, is this something then they're going to try to develop in some way for housing or building? Because when the rock pit first started, my husband and I both were quite in favor of it because it was a very logical thing to do. That's good rock there, and they needed it, especially for the little North Fork at that time, which was having mudslides, and it had wonderful access from Kingdom Lane right onto the highway. It was very logical. We supported it. Now that rock pit has grown from like 6 acres to, I don't know, 160 or something. So I'm seeing from my house all of the timber being sheared off the mountainside, kind of unappealing. So now I'm thinking, I just want to know what he wants to do. What is his next step? If he gets this approval, then where is he going with it? Okay. And I don't know how to ask that question. I guess I would like to just walk across the street and talk to the person, but I don't want to wind up saying something stupid that's going to cause a problem later. So I'm asking you here now if you can answer that.
Yeah, well, I can't answer it, but we can ask the applicant's representative if he has a response to that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would be up to applicant. I mean, I don't know the answer to that except what's before me in the application, but. Okay. Yeah.
And then I definitely would like to support what Matt was just saying about Kingdom Lane. You know, right now the rock trucks, Old Mahama Road, I don't know if you know, is 4 miles long. So if the rock trucks go out on the west end, then they have to go straight up the hill on Highway 22. It doesn't make a lot of sense. If they go out the east end, which they usually do most of the time, then they have to go down a steep hill and make a sharp left turn. And there are so many accidents in that area. It doesn't make any sense when Kingdom Lane is like the shortest little stubby distance to go right to the highway where it's open and clear on all sides. It's perfect. So anyway, I just would want to agree with him 100% on that one.
Okay.
And then I never understood what is goal 3, 4, and 5. Can you just give me like a short explanation of what he was talking about?
Sure. Let me not go from memory, but so goal 3 is regarding agricultural lands. And the goal basically is to preserve and maintain agricultural lands. Okay. It's one of the statewide planning goals. Goal 4 is for forest lands, and it's to conserve forest lands by maintaining the forest land base and to protect the state's forest economy by making possible economically efficient forest practices that assure the continuous growing and harvesting of forest tree species as the leading use on forest lands, consistent with sound management of soil, air, water, fish and wildlife resources, and to provide for recreational opportunities and agriculture. Sorry, that was a little longer one. And then what was the other goal you were asking?
And 5.
5.
So it was 3, 4, and 5 were mentioned.
Yeah, you're right. Goal 5 is open spaces, scenic and historic areas, and natural resources. So the goal is to protect natural resources and conserve scenic and historic areas and open spaces.
Okay. All right. So just the only other comment I would have is since the activity has increased, we have a lot more, what do you call them, coyotes, one fox, and cougar now. And so these are things we haven't had before all that activity. I think they were tucked way back up on that ridge, and but now, with the blasting and all the activity, we're seeing more of that. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
And sure, I will have to have you come back to the mic. And ma'am, did you go ahead and sign in so you get a copy of the decision? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Has excuse me? Has there been any surveys done as to the wildlife in the area? I mean, she brought up a good point there. There was a resident herd of elk on the top of the mountain that I used to see when I was growing up, and I've seen in the past few years, but I haven't seen them recently. I haven't seen them, probably in 2 years anyways. Okay. I don't know if that has anything to do with the blasting or all the trucks or anything else, but has there been a natural resource study or something, or natural
good question.
Wildlife study?
I don't know. I don't have one in the file. I just have kind of what I listed off. So we can ask applicant's representative. I'm not sure if he knows or not. I just don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Okay.
But good question.
And then the number 5, we talked about the scenic value. The scenic value there, I've heard people refer to that place as the strip mine east of Staten. So, I mean, from the highway, you can see clearly that rock pit has been way developed. Again, it's a great place for a rock pit. We need the rock. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
But, if they're just going to keep wrecking it, I don't know that I want to just give them free reins to do so.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, both of you, for being here. So now we don't have any other phone testimony, and so we're just going to call back. We have no one else here in person. We're going to call Mr. Soren back and give the applicant a chance for final rebuttal. Hello?
Hi, sorry. Hello, this is Alan.
Hi. So we've had some other testimony. I'm not sure if you've been able to watch on CCTV or not.
I have watched,
Okay.
and I've been able to take notes, and I'm
great.
in a position to respond, at least in part, to the comments and questions from those who have testified.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead.
So I'll kind of just start. Mr. Hill commented regarding some concerns on Kingdom Lane's use, and I would just say, kind of looking back at the condition of approval proposed by Marion County Public Works, applicant is happy to adhere to that. Applicant has done a good amount of work in trying to ensure that there are the drivers, the vendors, the third parties going to the site do not use Kingdom Lane. They've already posted at the quarry exit and at the scale shack notifying all drivers not to use that road. So they will continue those efforts to educate any and all third parties not to use Kingdom Road pursuant to the condition of approval. And applicant understands that extends beyond just gravel, but to any heavy truck traffic coming in and out of the site. Regarding the comments from Mr. Bohanec, there is no development proposal concurrent with this application. There's changing from EFU to a farm designation does not allow a greater amount of physical development of the property. There's not going to be a huge amount of residential development as an example about this. It is going to be more consistent with the long-term forestry use, which is related to the family of companies' uses. There may be proposals following this regarding the gravel permit to correct prior issues, but that's really independent of this zone change. And so no development proposal is concurrent with this, and we would ask the hearings officer's recommendation to be focused on the criteria at hand. But that is, we want to be responsive. So no expected large-scale development to happen with this. In the future, there may be some changes with the gravel permit, but that'll be done in a manner consistent with the conditional use criteria at the time, and is not intended to increase the scale or the scope of the project, but it'll be remediative, if anything. Comments from Ms. Stera were similar. I guess I would speak to on the comment regarding qualifications of geological issues. That's correct. Well, I don't have any. The Marion County Soil Survey Index was created pursuant to geological surveys that were done and are of record. Those are publicly available documents that you can review at the National Conservation, I think it's the NR, yes, at any rate, Marion County Soil Surveys would be the source document for that information. The only natural resource that's inventoried on the subject property or near the subject property were the aforementioned rattlesnake dens. Marion County does have elk habitat areas that are inventoried in other portions of the county. Those are not located anywhere near the subject property. So that's why there were no findings related to that, as it's not an inventoried wildlife resource. I think that addresses, at least at a high level, all of the comments and concerns. Okay. So I think that will do. Are there any other questions from staff or the hearings officer before?
I don't believe I have any. It's to staff, honey. So, Mr. Storm, because of the nature of the hearings, we have been leaving the record open for at least 14 days, 7 days to allow additional submittal, and then 7 days for applicant to respond. Do you think that's appropriate here? Do you have any comment or objection to that?
It is a little hard to hear you, Madam.
Okay, sorry.
I think you said there's a 14-day period after?
Well, we've been, because of the nature of the hearing and a lot of people watching over CCTV and not appearing in person, we have been leaving the record open for 14 days, 7 for anyone to submit information or additional testimony or evidence, and then 7 days for applicant to respond. Do you have any objection to that?
That's fine.
Okay.
There's no concerns from the applicant regarding that period.
Okay, so then what we would do is leave the record open until June 18th, and that's for any participants to submit additional written testimony, argument, or evidence. And that by 5 p.m. that day, it should be submitted to the planning department. And then applicant will have a chance to respond to any new information until June 25th. So I don't think we have any other questions for you, Mr. Sorum. Do you have anything further for us?
No, Madam Hearings Officer.
Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and let you go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead and close the hearing, but open record period, June 28th for anybody to submit additional information, and then applicant will have until June 25th to respond, and then the record will close. So I'll issue a written decision. You'll both receive a copy, and anyone else who requested a copy will receive one as well. So thank you both for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.